Seltzer Kings
podcasts.
Buffy?
Mom,
You're going out?
I have to.
I didn't hear you come in last night.
I was really quiet.
It's happening again, isn't it? I got a call from your new principal. Says you missed some classes today.
I was running an errand.
We haven't finished unpacking and I'm getting calls from the principal.
Mom, I promise it is not going to be like before. But I have to go.
No.
Mom,
The tapes all say I should get used to saying it. No.
this is really, really important.
I know. If you don't go out, it'll be the end of the world. Everything is life or death when you're a 16-year-old girl.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of Boys Watching Buffy. We're two boys watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I am Joe Welke.
I am Vance.
And today we're going over episode 2, The Harvest, directed by John T. Kretschmer, written by Joss Whedon, and the original air date was March 10th, 1997. Same date as the last episode. They must have done like a back-to-back type of thing. And the same amount of viewers, 4.59 million. And yeah, this one kind of picks up right where the last one left off, like literally.
And we made some predictions last episode. I said that the cross was going to save her and that Angel was going to rescue the other people. And I was half right because the cross did save her.
Yes, it did.
And then she just saves the rest of them, even though last we saw they were surrounded.
Yeah.
A little anticlimactic of a resolution for a cliffhanger.
Absolutely. It was just, well, I'm guessing that when this actually originally aired, it wasn't much of a cliffhanger because they probably just had like a commercial break and went right to the second episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, between the time that we watched it, I was like, oh, cliffhanger. And then it was just like everything was resolved like in the first 5 minutes of the episode.
Yeah. Like somehow the guy's about to bite her. He's like, "Oh, cross, I'm done." And then,
yeah, exactly.
And then there's like only 2 vampires, and they're like dragging people away.
Well, it's like, didn't he see the cross before? Like, it's a huge ass cross, and it's not like she was covering it up.
You know what's crazy about the cross that she has is that she was given that by Angel, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would think Buffy would just have crosses on her, like just dangling, like all over the place, like.
Yeah, because like she should have a cross tattoo on her face.
Yeah. It should be like cross tattoos on her palm. So if she slaps you, it's like,
oh, dude, that's a good fucking idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Vance, we should write a comic book.
just cross slapping vampires.
Yeah, the bitch slapping vampire slayer.
That'll be on the back of the hand, you know.
Yeah, oh yeah. That's actually a really fucking cool idea. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's really cool, Vance.
Yeah. That'll work for something. We'll see.
Yeah. So yeah, like we said, episode picks up right after everything ended in episode 1. Luke, the vampire, is on top of Buffy. It also still had that awful intro.
Yeah, like we're not talking about the intro song that they have, but whatever version we watch has the intro of the whole series.
Yeah. Yeah. Every once in a while there's a vampire slayer, and this vampire slayer's Buffy.
Yeah, you're like, what? Why do we need this?
Yeah, it's so awkward and bad.
I don't see, and because this is a continuation from the first episode, I don't know if it will keep happening, you know?
Yeah, I don't know either. I hope it stops maybe after season 1.
Or at least after these 2, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That would be kind of funny if it did last the entire, like the budget gets so much bigger and everything looks so much better, but they still have that janky ass awful intro.
Yeah. In a world.
Yeah. So bad. But yeah, so Buffy runs out after she shows the cross to Luke, the second in command vampire. saves her friends who seem to be on death's doorstep in the last episode. And these vampires don't really act quickly.
No, they seem fine when she shows up.
Yeah.
Like, she kicks one vampire off of a guy. He runs away.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, these vampires suck, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
they do. Inefficient, man. Inefficient.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so she saves everybody. Then they go to school the next day, basically, and Giles, the librarian, basically gives us a history of vampires and the world, and it was the most exposition dump thing ever.
Yeah, and they kind of break it up because they go back and forth between that and the vampires that have Jesse.
Yeah.
And but then you go back to the library and like, oh my god, we're still talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, like Vance said, the vampires have Jesse, and they're bringing him to the head vampire, the master vampire. And they're like, hey, look, we got this guy for you. He's a pure blood, which I think is a shot because I think a pure blood is a virgin.
Yeah. I've always wondered how that affects the blood.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's always just in the myth, but it's like, oh, this guy had sex. Like, oh man, his blood is tainted. Like,
his blood sucks.
Yeah.
This guy's dropped some loads.
Yeah. He's been wanking it his whole life, but just that one touch.
Well, I would feel like it'd be more significant for, and here we go. This is where Joe is gonna talk out of his ass for a second.
I know what you're about to say, and I'm getting the cancel sticks ready.
But I feel like it would be more significant if you're a woman because of the hymen breaking blood thing.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, yeah.
We don't have hymens.
No. Like, there's nothing that physically is altered by our first time. You know?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And this has been Joe's Cancel Minute. New segment on the show. But yeah, so they're like, oh, we got this guy. He's a pure blood. And then the boss is like, well, I can tell that you've already tasted him, to the lady vampire. I think her name is Darla. Was that her name?
Darla, Darlene, something. I don't know.
Something stupid that no one is named anymore. And he's like pissed off at her. He's like, oh, that's my meal.
Yeah, you brought me scraps. I've been waiting here for 70.
Yeah.
Is it 70 like 60 years or something?
Well, Abraham Lincoln said 80.
How long is a score?
I don't know. Hold on, let's look it up.
Yeah,
how long?
We got to be accurate for our listeners.
Yeah. If I'm going to get canceled, I need to at least get this right. So a score is 20 years.
Yeah, so he says he's been down there for 70, which is 60 years. But,
that's not that long.
But they later in the episode say that this harvest opportunity comes along once every 100 years.
Yeah.
So where's the 40 years?
I don't know, man.
I'm just saying, if you're going to throw math in there, you got to get it right.
Well, then also in the later episode, the guy said it's been a long time since somebody snuck up on him, and it was in 1843 or something.
He said 18. It's such a great line read. He's like, when was the last time you've been like taken down by like a Buffy, like a Slayer or something? And he's like, 1843, Madrid.
Yeah, and then he goes, they caught me sleeping.
Yeah, and I'm like, wait, what? Wait, they caught you sleeping, you didn't die, you were in Madrid somehow.
Yeah.
In 1843. Now you're in California. Do the Slayers show... There's got to be more than one Slayer. The world is huge.
Well, that's what the guy keeps saying. Like, that's what I don't understand is he keeps saying there's one in the world.
Yeah, it's like... All right.
Like, and this one just happens to be in like, you know, an hour outside of LA. Like, yeah. What a random place.
If there was one Slayer, they would be on planes all day flying between catastrophes. Oh, vampire outbreak. All right, frequent flyer miles. Like, yeah.
But yeah, so the vampires, they have Jesse, and they plan to use him as bait to lure Buffy down into the catacombs or whatever. And it works perfectly. Like the next episode, the next thing that we see is like Buffy being like, I need to go save Jesse. And then Xander's all pissed off because he's like, oh, I get it. I can't come because you don't think I'm a man or something.
Yeah, he's got like, oh, I'm inadequate. I'm like, did you not see that they were vampires and that she's super strong and you are not?
Yeah.
Like, it's not a masculinity question. Like,
yeah, like he gets so butthurt about like, oh, I get it. You don't think I'm a man. It's like, well, you obviously are a grown adult man playing a 16-year-old. Like we all know that.
Yeah, you should be stronger than everyone in this high school.
We all know that you're 34 years old.
There's a moment where later in the episode where Buffy's mom is like, it's crazy for a 16-year-old girl. And I'm just like, that is not a 16-year-old girl we're looking at.
Who do you think looks the youngest out of all of these people?
Oh, Willow, for sure.
That's what I was thinking too. But Buffy looks a little young too.
She looks young, but she looks like anywhere between 18 to 20, Like if you want to go young side.
I would say at the oldest she's 23.
Yeah.
But she looks young.
Yeah.
But fucking Xander.
Xander's shaving between scenes.
Yeah, Xander and the mean girl, the Regina George. What's her name? Bedelia?
Oh, what is her name? Yeah.
Charisma Carpenter.
Yeah.
She looks 40. Like Cordelia.
She doesn't look that old, but she's definitely like in her 20s.
She looks weathered, dude.
She's an adult.
Like, I just kept noticing her forehead wrinkles in this and like all of the makeup she has on. And I was like, this is an adult, late 20s adult. But anyway, we're way off topic.
Well, there's something in when they're talking and she goes like, they can't figure out where the vampires are coming from. And they're like, oh, we can try I guess I can go to the office building or something. Like to figure out the underground stuff. And then Willow's like, I have another plan. And we find out Willow's like a hacker.
Yeah, of course.
And she can check the net.
Yeah.
And there's a line where Buffy's like, oh, I know what's going on. I'm so mentally challenged.
Oh,
like mentally challenged much or something. Because
Yeah.
she's like, oh, it comes from that place that they took. Where they took Willow the first time. She's like, that's the tunnel. She's like, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Why would they just take her to a random mausoleum?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, then Buffy gets caught. She's like, I gotta go save Jesse. And she's leaving her high school campus, and the principal catches her. He's like, already trying to bail on your second day and not here, lady. And she's like, no, I'm just getting a book for Mr. Giles, the librarian. And he's like, I don't know how they do it in England, but here you stay on campus. And then he closes the gate and she's like, okay, I'll stay on campus. And then as soon as he turns his back, she like just leaps 10 feet over this fence.
I knew it was coming. It was something like, you just plant your 2 feet here. And I was like, oh boy, she's gonna jump.
Yep. As soon as he was like, keep your feet on the ground or something.
And the crazy thing about that is if he just looks back.
Oh yeah, she's gone.
Like she's standing near a fence. It's not like she had any other place to go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's just always, I don't know how powerful she is and when she can use her powers, because there's moments in this episode, even this episode, where it's like I've seen her do crazier shit to get out of much smaller jams, and now she just like doesn't have the power to do this.
Yeah, I had that issue with Jessica Jones the first season, because I was just like, she's super strong sometimes, and sometimes she's just getting beat up by henchmen. Right? But in this, I think you're referencing her not being able to close a door, but able to rip a grate down from the ceiling with her fingertips.
Yeah, like later in the episode, like we're jumping way ahead.
Yeah.
But who gives a fuck?
The show's been off there for a while.
But so the sequence of things that happen are she throws a grown man up off of the ground into a pile of vampires. And then she's like, I can't close the door. Xander, help me. And she's like pissed at Xander for not helping him. And then they're like, how are we going to get out of here? And there's like a grate above them. Uh-huh. And like, I just saw her earlier in this episode jump like 10 feet over a fence. And now she can't jump up to wherever that fucking thing is.
I thought she was just going to grab the grate with her hand and just like yank it down. But she's really like getting her fingers in it and trying to like pull it down.
Like I just saw her jump 10 feet over a fence. Like I don't understand her powers and when she uses them and how strong she is and when she chooses to be. And like she's asking Xander for help and it's like, why don't you just jump? It's like,
well, I don't think she had a problem getting up to it. Like she just climbs up some boxes or something, and then she's like pulling it with her fingernails down. Yeah. And it just was like a struggle, but it seems like that would be harder to do than closing that door.
Yeah.
But she gets that down and then, yeah, I don't know. I think they just wanted some tension in that moment, even though they walked into, like she doesn't freak out when they walk into, we'll get to that scene, but she doesn't freak out when they walk into a room and there's a vampire in it.
Yeah. All right, hold on. Let's back up. We jumped way ahead. But you know, we've got some like other bullshit going on. Like, you know, Willow and Giles are researching how to help Buffy, and Buffy goes to the graveyard, and Angel's there. It just like comes from out of the shadow and he's like, "Hey, I'm here to warn you. Shit's about to get crazy."
Okay, so we know that he's a vampire, right? Like we just because we know of the spinoffs and stuff, right? Does she know he's a vampire at this point?
I don't think so. Because she didn't even know his name.
Who does she think he is?
I have no idea. She thought that he was Giles's friend.
Yeah. And Giles said
in the last episode. Yeah. And he was like, I don't know who the fuck that guy is. But she's just like taken by him, I guess, because he's a total fucking hottie.
Yeah. I mean, it is nice when he comes on screen and you're just like, oh, okay. We got like a little bit of charisma. Yeah. Just a little. Like, I think he was better in the first episode than he was in this one. Just because of some of the lines he has to deliver in some of the moments. But, yeah.
Yeah, he's got some real cheese going on in some of his lines.
That line, I don't know, he's in the mausoleum. And it just doesn't even make sense that she's just like, oh, yeah, you're here, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you shouldn't go down there. It's dangerous or whatever. And she's like, are you going to wish me luck? And then he doesn't say anything.
Yeah, he just blankly stares at her.
And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting, right? And then she walks away and she leaves. And then he just whispers, good luck. And I'm like, why couldn't you just say that to her? It's like this interestingly dramatic line read, but it just it doesn't need to be there. It's just like, good luck.
See, when she said, are you going to wish me luck? I was going to say, I was thinking that he would say something different, like, you're going to need a lot more than luck or some shit like that.
It's a joke setup, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But instead, just blank stare and then, good luck.
I feel like we need more of their relationship to understand what that good luck whisper means.
Yeah. It made no sense.
No. And it was such a long pause between it.
Yeah. Then Willow and Giles are still researching the Hell's Mouth, and that's just not very interesting.
No. Is this before or after the computer scene, the computer lab scene? I think it's like before.
Yeah, well, like, so they're like really perplexed that she's able to access the city planning.
Yeah. Well, no. I think the computer lab scene comes up around here too. Well, yeah, they're perplexed that she's a hacker, which is a big thing back then.
Yeah.
God's like, I need you to get on the net.
Yeah.
And there's a computer lab scene where Charisma Carpenter and her friend are basically doing coding.
Yeah.
And in between the coding chat, they're talking about what happened at the club the night before.
Yeah.
And I guess we do find out that this was a weeknight because they're in school the next day.
Yeah.
And they're coding, and there's like syntax talk, and then she's like, oh my God, Buffy came up to me and she had this sharp wooden stake, and she was like, I'm going to kill you or whatever. And they're like, she's weird. And then they look over and they're so confused about coding, and they ask Willow. They like look over and like, what is she doing? And the girl looks over and goes, and she's like looking up earthquakes and stuff. And the girl looks back to Charisma Carpenter and goes, she's doing something else.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't like make fun of her, like, or nothing in that line. Like, they're just like, she's doing something else.
Well, my favorite part of the scene is they're talking shit about Buffy, and some random guy literally like pokes his head from off screen. He goes, what? Who's Buffy? What did she do? Whoa.
He's like, I called him Surfer Dude because he comes in hard Cali.
Yeah.
Hard Cali accent. He's like Breckin Meyer in Clueless. Like, what? That's crazy. Buffy? Really? Dude.
No way.
And he just leans over it. So,
we never see that guy again.
Why is he there? How is he able to talk to them?
It was the best.
Yeah.
It was the cheesiest, best thing ever.
And then Willow can't take it. She's like, you guys don't know. Buffy's not weird.
Yeah.
And then they're like, you don't have the right to talk to us, you troll. They don't say that, but they might as well.
She said, who gave you permission to exist? It's like, Jesus.
Don't interrupt my private, loud conversation. Surfer Dude can interrupt it, but you can't.
Yeah.
And then they think they finally finished the coding, and this is a kind of clever, like, wordplay-ish thing. They're walking. Willow's leaving because she got all her internet information, her dial-up. And they're like, oh, we finished. Ooh, this nightmare's over. How do we finish? What do we do now?
Yeah, how do we save it?
Yeah. And Willow goes, deliver. Hit deliver. And you're like, what? And they cut to the keyboard, and it's the DEL for delete button.
Yeah.
And Charisma Carpenter's like, oh, cool. Hits the button, and then her screen goes blank.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right. Good.
Just desserts.
Yeah, good one. It's a clever little play. You know, it's a smart move by Willow to know, like.
Yeah, I would have never thought to do that.
Yeah.
But
that's a writer sitting in front of their keyboard figuring that out. Yeah.
All right, so Buffy's now down in the bunker, and who should show up to surprise her from behind like a genius? Xander. He is also bailed at school, and he is determined to help Buffy.
Because he's a man, and men have to put themselves at extreme risk.
Yeah, like, I don't understand.
For his friend? They try to mix it up for, like, his friend that he's doing it, but also he's doing it for himself. Because by the end of this episode, he does not care.
Yeah, he's doing it to save Jesse, but he's actually doing it because he's got the hots for Buffy.
Got the hots for Buffy, and he feels emasculated. Yeah. Even though he shouldn't.
Yeah. Like, you saw Buffy, like, launch people into the air.
You saw vampires. I also wondered when he shows up behind her, did he walk past Angel? Did they cross paths at any point?
That's what I was wondering, too. Just, like, walk by him like, oh, hey, what's up, dude? Don't mind me.
Don't mind me. I know I look like every other vampire, but I'm wearing a suit in the middle of the day for no reason in a cemetery. I guess, and there's no funerals happening, but yeah, let's go.
Yeah. He's just like, oh, I was just walking around. I thought this was a really cool looking mausoleum.
You got the directions to the malt shop?
So yeah, now they're walking around the corridors of the fucking, I don't know, going down to the vampire lair. And, you know, Xander's like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to kill these vampires. And then Buffy's like, it's all the stuff that you've heard of. Crosses, garlic, wooden stakes, holy water, typical vampire shit. And he's like, oh, I didn't bring any of that, but I did bring this. And he just like gets a flashlight out and he's like, woo!
Yeah. She's like, turn that off. And I'm like, is that really going to be the thing that gets you in trouble? Is the flashlight?
Yeah. Like, you guys are talking loud as fuck.
Talking full volume, walking in a one-way tunnel underground.
Yeah.
And Buffy hands him like a cross, right? This giant wooden cross. She has nothing else on her.
She has her cross necklace.
Yeah, but she doesn't have a stake. She doesn't have like a garlic beaded necklace or anything. She is going in just hands.
Yeah.
And you're walking. They're like, hey, this is a guy that's might be starting to harvest and going to bring demons to the earth. And you're about to go into his home. And she's like, all right, I'll just walk over there.
Yeah, right? Like, she didn't even do the thing like she did in the last episode where she like broke a wooden leg off of a chair.
Yeah. And later in this episode, she goes to get a bunch of stuff to fight the vampires above ground. I'm like, wouldn't you do that if you're about to go into their home? Like,
yeah, dude.
It just didn't. I was like, why are you walking in there with nothing? And
it doesn't make any sense.
And this vampire's plan, their plan, in theory made sense, but my God.
Yeah. So they get down to like kind of the lair area. It seems like not really. They're still in like corridors of pipes and stuff.
Yeah, it's not the place that we've seen them gathering.
Yeah, it's not like the cave with all the candles.
Yeah.
It's like these long hallways with pipes lining the walls.
Yeah. It's like it looks like they're underneath a water treatment facility or something.
Yeah, dude. It doesn't look like this would be underneath of a grave.
Because they pop out of somewhere that seems very industrial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But so then there's just Jesse chained up to one of those pipes. And he's like, oh, guys. Oh, save me. And they're like, hey, this is easy. And then they just kind of like bust them open. And they're like, all right, cool.
Like, he's lying face down on the ground like in a Saw movie with his ankle chained up.
Yeah.
And as soon as they show up, he jumps up and like he's going to fight them off like they're vampires or something. And he's just like, why would the vampires chain him up in the middle of a hallway?
Yeah. I was expecting, so Xander's like, Jesse, and like immediately runs over to him. Mm-hmm. And I was expecting Buffy to be like, don't go, it's a trap.
Yeah.
But she's like, oh, hey, Jesse, and runs like right with him. It's like, is this your first rodeo, Buffy?
Buffy, when she was describing how you can kill vampires and she like beheading and firing, she's like, oh, there was this one football captain who, well, he used to be a football captain before he was turned, and he had this thick neck, and I had an X-Acto knife, and the guy tells her to stop talking.
Yeah. And
I was like, no, can you please continue how you cut off a thick-necked vampire with an X-Acto knife?
No. He didn't tell her to stop. She stopped because she was like, I can tell this story. It's making you uncomfortable. And then he goes, actually, it's making me feel very much more at comfort.
Yeah, I was just... But it was like, how do you cut someone's neck off with an X-Acto knife?
I had no idea.
It would take forever.
Yeah.
And
Buffy's a badass, Vance.
And how did you get away with that murder of a football captain?
Yeah.
The next day, they go, where is he?
No, she just got suspended from school.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, you go home for a day or two. You're wilding out, dude.
Man.
So stupid.
Oh, my God.
So yeah, they find Jesse, and then he's like, hey, it's crazy because like the vampires, they said that they were going to use me as bait to lure you guys in. And as soon as he says that, like a bunch of vampires show up and they just like stand there. Like they don't go after Buffy. They just
And you know what's crazy about that? Because of what we find out later, why did he say that?
Yeah.
Like, why did he tell them that?
I have no idea, but I just love like they turn a corner and the vampires are just there and they're like, hey. And they don't like run at them. They don't try and grab them.
They just peek around corners and I guess their eyes light up.
Yeah. And there's at least 4 of them, and then they start to slowly chase them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh God, Jesse, this is crazy. And then out of nowhere, and this actually did kind of spook me. Like they show Xander and Buffy, and they're like, Jesse, how are we going to get out of here? They turn back to Jesse, and he's vampire face.
Oh, well, that's after he leads them. That spooked you? That didn't spook me at all.
It spooked me.
No.
It got me.
It did not get me. Well, they were like, they all walked down there together, and then they're like, hey, do you know how to get out of here, Jesse? I'm like, you guys just walked in. Just retrace your steps.
Well, I think that the vampires were blocking where they just came from.
I guess they were blocking where they came from. And then he's like, oh, I remember where. And he leads them to this, I guess,
like corner.
Was that the plan?
It seems like it would be because it was like then they were cornered.
Yeah.
But
do you need to corner both
I
of
don't
them?
know.
So then he turned and you realize Jesse's been turned. And
yeah. And this is where we get to the scene where we were talking about before, where she picks Jesse up, throws him like full, probably 15 feet into like 5 or 6 vampires. And then she's trying to close the door and she can't. It's like, Xander, are you going to just stand there? Are you going to help me?
But there is so much talking after that like reveal that got you.
Yeah.
He's standing there and he's like, Jesse, no. He's like, I love being a vampire. I was a loser before. I'm cool now. Like,
yeah.
You're just like, oh my gosh.
Well, he just like shows him the wooden cross that Buffy gave him.
Yeah.
And then it's just like nothing changed.
Yeah, it was just like he can't go forward. So now they can just have a conversation with the cross in between them. And Buffy's just like trying to push the door. She has no reaction to Jesse being turned at all.
No.
She doesn't go like, oh no, we're too late, or she just
it's like the vampires are basically at the door too, and she's been trying to close it for like 30 seconds, and they just none of them get in.
None.
And even if she does close the door, she's still in there with Jesse.
Yeah.
Who she has to kill now.
Yeah, I figured she thinks she can kill Jesse pretty easy.
I guess that's true. He's a new vampire. He doesn't really get it.
I mean, if you're Buffy, like, take that cross, back Jesse out of there, angle him out of the room. But anyway, she tosses him because that looks cool. And then kind of is.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet. Yeah. They all fall down like bowling pins.
She threw him out there like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like,
DJ Jazzy Jeff.
She grabs him by his pants and just throws him.
Then Xander and Buffy eventually close the door. Then she climbs up some boxes and pulls a grate off, and then they start crawling through.
Did you think they're still crawling through this like little crawl space area, and the vampires are coming in and they're crawling after them too? Did you think that she got caught and left behind at one point? Like no, like when he's climbing out, like because Xander gets out of the top, he moves a sewer grate, which is also heavy, but moves a sewer grate and climbs out, and it looked like from the edit, it looked like Buffy had gotten dragged back in.
No, I never got that. I was more just pissed off because of the lack of clarity regarding her powers at that point. Because I was like, why doesn't she just jump? I was expecting.
Well, I mean, she didn't have a problem reaching the grate though.
No, but what I'm saying is when she was like telling Xander to go first, I was expecting her to like give him a boost and then just like chuck him.
Yeah, I was expecting her to climb up and grab him by the hand and like pull him up. But it was really just like a air duct that they were crawling through.
And I was also expecting her to like jump up and just be able to get out of there pretty quickly and like just kind of dragging Xander behind. But
I thought it was good for her to be behind, but I thought she was gonna like kick a vampire in the face that was chasing after her.
So Xander moves the sewer grate, which is not easy to do. You can't just move those.
They have those like those metal things that you lift them up. It's not like Ninja Turtles or something. You gotta like, those things are heavy.
So he moves it, and then Buffy, I was expecting her at this point to just leap up out of there, but no, she's climbing the little ladder.
She doesn't have the angle to leap up.
She could have leapt.
She's on her hands and knees, like just no.
Okay, Vance.
Whatever.
She's a superhero.
She's a slayer. She's not a superhero.
Well, this is the other part that I didn't get. So she climbs up, and then a vampire reaches up in the sunlight, grabs her leg, and it's fine. And then they dip it back down, and then she goes, Xander, pull. And then he pulls her up back into the same sunlight that it was just in, and then it turns to dust.
No, there's like an extra. I feel you though, because I was like, there's sun coming in.
Yes.
But then there was like an extra sunlight ray that the hand gets pulled into. That's like a more direct sunlight. But I thought any sunlight would just be a problem. But the hand goes into like a direct sunlight ray, and then it starts to burn. But I was like, that shouldn't. I get your point though, because it should have just been the first time he grabbed up, but they doubled up on it for some reason.
Yeah, I guess to just show the
Yeah.
aversion to sunlight.
They're kind of setting that up for the ending too, which I thought was done really well, which was a smart play by Buffy.
Yeah. So then, Giles and Willow are still doing research about murderers, and then we see the second in command vampire, Luke, drink the Master's blood, and he becomes the vessel.
Before that, I do have a gripe. a gripe.
Okay, let's Vance gripe.
All right. So they escape, and the main head vampire guy's pissed that they got away. He's like, how did they get away? And he's talking to this vampire that I don't know if we've ever met, named Colin.
Yeah, I don't think we have met him.
And he is really pissed that Colin messed up this plan. I'm like, was this Colin's plan? Because I don't remember him coming up with this idea.
Yeah.
I don't. And why? And like, he's so mad at him, and he like, hey, stay back. And he's going to do like some bad guy, like murder the person that messed up. And it's done off screen. He's like, something about your eyes. And he
was like, you got something in your eye.
And then you just hear like a sound and him shooting his hand forward. And there's no visual payoff. Like, I thought they were at least going to cut to a shot and it was going to be like his fingers and his eyes kind of thing. And the guy's body like, eh.
I feel like that's a little too intense for TV.
Well, like, or at least like just be like, oh, you must have lost your head, and just hear like a melon fall off onto the floor. Like, just something that, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be. I don't know what I'm hearing off screen.
Yeah.
To be terrified from. Like, this is the moment where you show how bad this bad guy is.
Yeah.
And who is Colin? Why is Colin getting screwed for this? You got the one girl eating your food before she brings it in, and they lost all these people. You got 1834 Madrid guy who's messing up. And all of a sudden, Colin gets the blame?
Yeah, I don't remember even seeing Colin, like, in that chase scene, really.
No. Like, I was thinking, oh, maybe that's the guy from the first episode. But no, that guy got killed by Buffy in the mausoleum. So this guy's completely new. They just made up a new guy to be the fall person.
Yeah, I don't know. It's also like all of the vampires kind of look the same. They all have mullets.
God. Yeah. They're just
very weird.
Yeah, the only two are like that main guy, Luke, I guess his name is, and that lady. They're the only. Other than that, everyone looks like the same person.
Yeah, they're kind of indistinguishable. So then Luke drinks the Master's blood to become the vessel, and basically anyone that Luke kills, the strength from those kills is given to the Master. And I don't understand why the Master just can't go up and out.
Well, they go through the whole thing of the earthquake happened and he got trapped in between a portal dimension, and I don't know. There's two things with one, the Master was like, bring me some food, I want to eat, right?
Yeah.
But now he's like, oh, I don't actually need food. I can just have this one guy do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, why were you doing the thing in the beginning of the episode? Because it's only one day later. Like, why even go up the first? Like, if you knew you were coming back the next night, like, why did you do the stuff in the first episode? Like, why did you go to the club the night before? If you did it this night, you would have been fine because no one would have knew your plan. And second, I wanted to say that whole ceremony was very Christian. Like, it was like communion and Ash Wednesday mixed together.
He was like, "You will drink my blood. This is the blood of my body. We are now one." And then he like gives him the sign of the vessel.
And the sign that he puts on his forehead is so different than what Giles draws up on that board.
Yeah. Because to me it looked like it was just like a blood triangle.
Yeah. And Giles makes like a pinwheel or something.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this guy's not an artist.
Yeah. So while he's getting this treatment done, Giles is giving the history of the Hellmouth and the history of the vessel and blah blah blah. And then they're like, well, what is it going to happen? Where are the vampires going to go? And then fucking Xander's like, they're definitely going to the Bronze. It's the hottest club in town.
and that's what Charisma Carpenter was talking about in computer lab coding class. Because they just went out to a club the night before, and they got crazy there. But yeah, this town is bumping, man.
It's a 1 Starbucks town.
It's a 1 Starbucks town, but like clubs everywhere.
No, it's the Bronze. It's the same club.
Oh, is it the same one?
Yeah, Charisma Carpenter. I love that we refused to say her actual character name.
What's her name again?
It's Cordelia.
Okay, Cordelia.
I forgot it. I thought it was Bedelia the first time I wrote it down. In the first episode, I wrote Pedelia. So there's all kind of confusion. But yeah, she said that she was like, yeah, let's go to the other club. And her friend is like, what other club? And she's like, yeah, we're going to the Bronze. It's the only place to go. Okay. And so it's the same club.
She also mentions that there's no cover that night. But from what I see, this guy's collecting cover charges.
Yeah, I guess it's for the underage drinkers.
Yeah, this club is... Or, like, I guess he can't card them because they all look like they're 25, so...
Yeah, you can't card an obvious 35-year-old.
He's like, get in there. But yeah, it's just like Xander's so in the know. He's like, the Bronze. He said that where all the tasty morsels will be, which is so creepy.
It'd be hilarious if they went to the Bronze and the vampires didn't show up.
Yeah, I'm like, go anywhere else.
Yeah. You go to the ice cream parlor that the one was going to take Willow to.
Yeah. You'll find a lot of pure.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you could definitely... Like, why does it need to be teenagers? Why can't it be like 8-year-olds?
And why not split up?
Right?
This whole plan, the vampires' plan is so dumb. Everything they do is so dumb.
I guess they need the one guy to eat for the boss.
Yeah.
He needs to mom a bird for the boss. So they can't split that guy up.
Yeah, but so they go to... So everyone's going to the club. And they're in there, and then they just, like, lock the door. They take the bouncer and lock the door, and they're like, make a scene. Like, Luke's on stage.
Yeah.
And, like, killing people on stage. And, like, I want to talk about Buffy's sneaking out thing.
Yeah.
Because it's so ridiculous. But, like, instead of just going in there and, like, slyly killing people in the bathroom or, like, taking people into corners and killing them, they're, like, making a presentation out of it.
Yeah. Vance, we should have been vampires.
I don't want to be a vampire.
We would have been so much better at vampiring than these vampires.
Oh, man. Yeah, but I don't want to work for that guy.
Yeah. I'd be a vampire, but I want to be my own boss. Okay?
Even Jesse had a moment where he was like, wait, I don't get one?
Yeah.
I thought there was going to be a vampire mutiny.
Yeah. Why are we all fucking eating for this guy? When do we get ours?
When do we want it? They just start unionizing.
Oh,
yeah, all right. That's the movie. Cross tattoos on the hand and unionizing vampires.
Yeah. Dude, it's going to be so dope. Look out for that in 2029.
Yeah.
But we skipped over the Buffy sneaking out scene, which I found hilarious because she's like, Buffy's like packing up to go out, and the mom just appears, kind of like a jump scare.
Yeah.
And she's like, "You're going out again?" And she's like, "I have to." And the mom's like, "No, you don't. You're grounded," basically.
Yeah, because the principal called or something.
Yeah. And he caught you trying to sneak out again. And she's like, we haven't even unpacked all of our stuff and you're already being a bad student. And Buffy's like, no, you don't understand. I need to go. And she's like, oh, yeah, because if you don't, it'll be the end of the world. And I was like, wow. Wow.
I feel like the mom as an actress has like such a thankless job in this. You're the one that's like completely clueless the whole time.
That's what I was going to say. Like, her mom has been living with Buffy for 16 years.
Yeah.
And like 16 years of not knowing she's a vampire slayer. Like, on her first day of school, like 5 people found out she's a vampire slayer, like immediately.
Yeah.
And the mom is just in the dark.
Yeah. And if the mom comes into the room later, she'll see her chest that she didn't put away that has closed
a secret compartment.
It's one of those things where you're like, I get it. You want to have that conflict with the mom and she can't get out. But it wasn't even a challenge to get out. Her window is wide open. She can jump from far heights.
Yeah.
And the mom even gives her, hey, if you want to stay in your room and sulk, you can. I'm never coming back up these stairs all night.
Yeah.
Or I'll make some dinner. Your decision. Yeah. So don't worry about it. Stay in your room. I'm not even going to worry about you sneaking out.
Yeah. And the mom just kind of leaves, and then Buffy's like, okay, and then locks her door, and is like, she goes up to the door to listen to see if the mom is still there, and then she's like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah, she walks out of a window that's the size of a door.
Yes. Dude, that window is fucking huge.
And then when she shows up to the club, she's like, I'm sorry I'm late. I got grounded. I'm like, that took all of 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, nothing held you up.
I thought that they were there waiting for her or something. She was like, I need to make a pit stop before we go to the Bronze.
Yeah.
And I thought that they were all like leaving together.
Yeah. They were all going to go to her house. Like, Giles should be driving them.
Right?
Like, they don't have cars, it seems like. We saw Buffy walk to the club through shady alleyways last time.
Yeah, and that's where we met Angel the first time.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, they don't have cars because we hear Bedelia at the Bronze talking about how she's only interested in senior boys because senior boys have cars.
I thought that was going to go somewhere, and it
went
really
nowhere.
did.
And by seniors, she means AARP because she's 45 years old.
And then we see, and somehow Jesse Vampire is there before all the other vampires.
Yeah.
Somehow, when you become a new vampire, you're allowed to do whatever you want.
Well, it did kind of go somewhere because she was talking shit about Jesse. Because she was like, I only like senior boys. Remember Jesse? He was here last night and he was just following me around like a sad puppy dog.
Yeah.
And then we see her, like, her friend tries to tell a story. And she's like, hey, Motormouth, I want to finish the sentence. And then Beaton's like, oh, I love this song. Let's go dance.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go dancing. And then Jesse's just there lurking in the background like, ooh, I'm going to get you.
And I was like, does he look more suave than he did before? Or is he just the same dude? I couldn't tell, like...
He put on a different jacket.
I thought he was going to start using his, like, vampire charisma to hit on her. And
Same.
And instead he goes over, grabs her, and then just, like, shut up or says something.
Yeah. She goes, oh, what are you doing? And he just goes, shut up. And she goes, okay, maybe one dance.
Yeah, I was like instant negging. My God, that's all it took. And it's not even like they're like, it's a slow dance somehow in this place. Like,
yeah.
He's all up close. I was like, wow, that was easy. That took no time at all.
All you gotta do is tell Cordelia to shut up, and then she's like, swoon.
And then this is when we see the whole brigade of vampires coming through.
Yeah,
like,
they bust in. They're not hiding their face. They all have these fucked up, mutilated faces.
Yeah, I couldn't tell because it was like, what weren't they like normal faces? Then it switched to like messed up faces.
Well, that's what I don't understand. It's because Jesse has a normal face and then he can switch.
Yeah, they can switch.
Darla did that where she had a normal face and then switched. She even did it at the same club.
Yeah.
Where she was talking to Jesse. But instead, this time around, they're just like, fuck all that CGI stuff. That stuff's expensive. We're just going to bust in with our Halloween masks.
Yeah. Well, then they grab, like, that Luke guy grabs the bouncer and he's like in his face. He's like, get inside. And then they go inside and they're walking up to the club like they're in swingers or something. Like, they like, yeah, party time. Eat some kids. And I don't know how they managed to kill the only black guy. like how? Like how? Well,
I don't know.
He's not even a part of this.
Oh, I also just don't get. So when they first get there,
and why him?
When they first get there, he's like, "Hey, let me see your IDs," and then Luke grabs him and he goes, "What's up with your face?" or something. Yeah. And then they bring him on stage to kill him, and he goes. It's like he's like, no, seriously, what's up with your face? Like, he just doesn't get it.
Yeah, like they just like strong armed you into this place. Like, what are you doing, security? I mean, I guess he's used to like teenage fights or something. But
dude, I did not even get that it was the only black guy. That makes it so much funnier.
The black guy dying first trope is there, and I'm like, how? Like, why would the bouncer be the first person they kill?
Yeah.
And then they kill some girl.
Yeah.
And the whole time this is happening, like they're on stage, Jesse has revealed himself to Cordelia, and she turns to him, and it's another one of those like, hey, I'm a monster next to you. Yeah. Anne reveals. And she's like, oh, what's wrong with your face? Another what's wrong with your face thing.
Yeah.
And then they're killing people on stage and no one's screaming. They're all screaming. It is not chaos. Like there's more chaos when a fight breaks out. Like a fist fight breaks out. People are louder than that. Like this is insane to me.
Everyone, there's probably like, let's say 50 people in there. Like no one's trying to fight off the vampires. Nobody's trying to escape. They're all just standing there watching Luke murder people on stage.
Yeah.
And then they use the same B-roll of this one guy with dreadlocks looking like, am I seeing what I'm seeing right now?
Yeah. It's more like confusion than like, oh, they just killed the bouncer and this one girl that is in our class, I assume.
Yeah.
And it's happening, and you're just like, why is people should be running? The other vampires should be like closing off exits and like doing that thing that they do in From Dusk Till Dawn when people try to escape, and they do that like yell at the people and like hoard them back to the middle. Like it should be like it should be a lot of stuff happening right now.
Well, it's also like what I loved about this scene is Luke on stage has like no charisma.
No.
He's just like standing on stage and he's just like, I'm gonna murder. And then everyone's just kind of standing there like, all right, fucking do it. And he's literally just standing there and he's just kind of like, all right, who's next?
No volunteers? Ooh.
Just awkwardly
tough
stiff.
room.
Like he's like bombing at his murder.
Come on, any takers? Come on, anybody? and then they grab Cordelia and they're like, she wants to go up there. And he grabs her, and then Buffy's broken in from the upstairs, and she There's one guy running the lights.
Yes.
Running a spotlight.
There's a vampire on spotlight duty. I love that.
Like, I don't want to be a vampire for this guy if your job is spotlights. He's like, what do I get to do? Oh, yeah, you're going to be on the spotlights. Can someone else get on the soundboard?
Yeah. Luke is just like, it'll look really cool. As if there's a spotlight. There's a spotlight up there. We just got to kill that guy first.
That's why they went the first time, so they could scout out the location.
And that's why Luke isn't moving, because he knows the spotlight guy is not a good spotlight operator.
So she throws him off the top.
Yep.
And then does a cartwheel flip drop down.
Yeah.
And
all this unnecessary gymnastics.
Yeah. And then we get another off-screen kill where a vampire comes to her. She grabs a pool cue and just shoves it to the off-screen to the left or right or whatever. And it just is floating there. So you can tell it's like plunged into someone. And I'm just wondering if like someone just holding it. You know? It's
definitely
just someone just holding it. It's like they didn't stick it into anything. It's
and then
like,
you see it just kind of like float off screen, like somebody's falling back. As goofy as that was, I fucking loved that.
Yeah.
It was campy as shit, and I was like, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, if it has to ride a fine line of camp and like, I feel like it'll get serious a little bit more when like more stuff happens, but like the camp stuff is entertaining.
Absolutely.
And I want more Buffy quips and weird murders. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because she does have some like clever stuff going on,
Yeah.
like with how she gets out of stuff and how she kills some people.
Yeah.
But then she does some more unnecessary gymnastics to get on stage to confront Luke.
Well, I feel like the gymnastics are so you can get the stunt person's face. So you can hide the stunt person's face, you know? Like, she has to turn away to do a cartwheel, and you're like, okay, and cut the stunt person.
Well, it's also like when you see Melissa Joan Hart. No, fuck, what's her, Sarah Michelle Gellar. When you actually see her when she's actually running, she runs so awkwardly.
Is she, like, really tucked in her elbows? Like, kind of Terminator 2-ish?
Well, it doesn't look like she's actually running. It looks like she's just like really fast walking, like she's got to take a shit.
I don't think she's got the right shoes. I don't think she's got the right shoes for vampire slaying.
That's what I'm thinking, dude.
Yeah.
Like, she's always wearing like these boot heels that were like popular in the 90s, but it's like, dude, you don't want to be doing that. Then she's fighting the vessel, and then
wait, how did the other guys get in? How did they break in that door?
They broke into the back door.
How?
They got Giles. I saw Giles busted in. He had like an empty keg that he slammed the door open with.
Okay, cool. Okay.
And then all the other kids just easily exit.
It is
like the vampires aren't stopping them. Giles and Willow are like, this way, and like nobody stopping them.
That was just insane to me. I'm like, while Buffy's fighting the vessel Luke guy on the stage, I'm like, where are the other vampires? And then all of a sudden, it's just like Giles and Willow are, hey, guys, over here. And everyone's running outside, and they're like tapping them on the shoulder like you're hustling like kids up for a fire drill or something. Yeah. And I'm just like, wait, what? You guys weren't trying to leave before? You guys could have, that door was like unguarded.
I think that they just thought that Luke was the next band.
Yeah, I guess.
I think Cordelia actually does say that. She was like, is this a new band? Or something?
But then at some point you have to be like, I think that one girl's dead. Like, it's not like you just killed the bouncer and they're like, who cares? It's the bouncer.
Yeah, he's the only black guy here. You know?
None of us knew him.
Yeah.
But and then she's fighting Luke,
and Jesse's on top of Cordelia. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get mine now. You think I'm cool? You think I'm cool yet?"
We get a lot of vampires falling on people and not biting them in this scene.
Yeah, because then Darla jumps on top of Giles,
and
so Buffy's fighting Luke, karate, and then fucking
funny.
Dude,
it was great.
And then Xander is trying to like reason with Jesse, where he's like, I know that my buddy's still in there somewhere. Yeah. And then Jesse comes up and he's giving basically the same speech he gave him before, where he's like, I was a loser before. It's like an infomercial for vampires.
Is there recruiting? Is there recruiter video?
Yeah. It's like, I was a loser before I got bitten. And now look at me. I got all the dates. It's like, no, you don't.
Yeah. Were you about to rape Cordelia, or were you about to bite her? Like, what are you doing?
You're about to just murder somebody, and it's like, you think that's like you scoring?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about, dude?
Have parents or siblings? Do you care about things? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, did anyone wonder why you didn't come home last night?
Yeah, it's so dumb, and it just like makes the least amount of sense.
Yeah, I do love this death though.
Yeah, and so Xander has like a wooden stake. He's like, don't make me do it, man. I don't want to do it. And then he's like so close to Xander that it's like pressing up against his chest. Yeah. And then somebody just bumps into Jesse. And he's like, oh! And then just poof into a bunch of dust.
I love that. I was like, that is so ridiculous. It's...
Yeah. It was fantastic.
It was great. It was just like no one's been running this whole time, and all of a sudden he gets bumped into.
Yeah. And the Darla on top of Giles, Willow grabs a glass of holy water and just like throws it in her face. Yeah. But she doesn't poof into a dust.
You know what's crazy? When Buffy gets there, she's like, I got to get all this material and stuff. And then she puts the one stake up her sleeve. But then she's like, gives the whole bag to Willow.
Yeah.
And it's in this like interesting decanter, this holy water.
Yeah.
And she throws it on Darla's face, and Darla's face starts aciding up, and she runs away. So Darla just keeps getting second chances, man.
She's a survivor. She's gonna make her.
What is her face gonna look like now?
I don't know. It's not gonna be as hot.
I mean, she already had the vampire face. Like, what does the vampire face with acid looks like?
I don't know.
And
how does Buffy kill the vessel guy?
Oh, it's great. Like she's fighting him. She takes the stake out. The stake doesn't work, and then she grabs like the drum stand.
Oh,
and he's
yeah.
like, you know, metal can't kill me. I'm like, oh, okay. Like,
yeah.
I think she knows that she's a slayer. And then she's like, but sunlight can. And she throws it at the window behind him. And the window shatters. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, have they been out all night?
That's what I was like, what the fuck?
I was like, this is crazy. And then he turns and he like flinches. And it's just like one of those sodium vapor, like, security lights.
Yeah.
And she's like, daylight's not for another 9 hours, idiot. And it stabs him in the back with a stake, like through his heart. And I felt the same way. I was like, yeah, I'm dumb too. I guess I thought like
I did love that. I thought that was very clever of her to be like, yeah, but sunlight can.
Yeah.
And then he just automatically is like, oh no, fucking sun. It's like, bro, you've been outside for like an hour tops.
Yeah. See, and I wasn't sure if it was like movie time or something passing, but yeah. It was a smart
pretty
move.
Fucking funny.
Yeah, I thought it was a good move.
Yeah, and then stabbed him in the back, and then
we forgot to mention that during all of this, the main vampire is touching this water vibration.
Oh
90s
yeah,
VFX effect. Like he's coming out of a portal. He's like, I can feel it. Almost there. One more kill. It's like, oh god. All right. We know you're not getting out, but come on.
And I did love that once the vessel was killed, he did the dramatic like, no.
I'll have to wait 3 more score.
Yeah. Darla's the next vessel for sure.
Or yeah, it seems like it's got to be. They seem like the other vampires seem like they can get in and out.
Yeah.
Which to your point, I don't get why he's the one that can't get out.
Yeah, I don't know why. And also, like, can't they just also keep bringing him people to the basement and then he can get the strength to get out?
Well, that's what I don't know. Like, does he need the vessel or does he need the people? Because he didn't even eat Jesse when he came down.
You know what, Vance? I'm starting to think this is a bunch of bullshit.
My favorite is the beginning when they're doing the info dump, and he's like, "Well, this planet, this Earth, this world wasn't a paradise to begin. It used to be full of demons, right? And then mortals came to be, and then the last demon bit a human and started biting other humans and started making new ones. And they've been waiting till the regular people die out." And I'm like, if that's their plan, and there's 1 billion plus people here now, like, I think it would have been probably easier in the beginning of time than now.
Absolutely.
Like, why now do you think you can take over all of China in the U.S.? Like, like just those places alone, population-wise. Like, what?
Also, I don't understand Buffy's accent. At certain times, it sounds like she's a British person trying to do an American accent. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's all over the place.
Yeah, she doesn't talk like... I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of Sarah Michelle Gellar stuff, too, so I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, where she's born or any of... I really know nothing about her except for Freddie Prinze Jr. and Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. And I know that she's... Cruel Intentions. Yeah. She's from Long Island. She's from fucking Long Island, dude.
Is she trying to do... Is it her Long Island accent mixing with the California?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Because it's baffling.
I thought she was better. Like, I thought this was a better episode for her because she didn't have to do too much Whedonism, but just enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like the end of this episode was just like so fucking weird.
Oh my god. So I was really excited because everyone just saw vampires kill. Everyone just saw Buffy jump like 20 feet down and then stab a guy with a pool cue.
Yeah.
Like, that happened. Like, they all saw that. And then they saw her kicking a guy on stage. And a guy gets stabbed. Well, maybe they missed it because they were running out of the building.
They saw 2 people get killed.
Yeah.
And Buffy kicking ass. They at least saw her.
Does that club have owners? like honestly, like I know there was a bouncer, but like he seemed to be the only adult in charge of the place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when someone comes in the next day and they're like, "What happened here?"
Like, oh, just another typical night at the Bronze, 2 murders.
Puncture wounds in their neck.
People turn into dust. What can I say?
Heroin use, drug use, what are we going to do?
Yeah, it's like there's no cops in this town to shut them down.
It's just like when you think about the logic of it, it just falls apart. But yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, then the next day at school, they're all just like, there's like this goofy ass fucking like upbeat music playing. And they're like, so yeah, people got murdered last night, and there's just going to be even worse things than vampires. I guess we're going to have to fight them all. Yeah. It's like, wait, what is this music?
But then it turns out that everyone, they just kind of, like, I thought they were doing something cool where everyone had known. Like kind of like that Iron Man ending where like, oh, everyone knows he's Iron Man, let's go, Yeah. Instead, it's like, people's minds try to rationalize what they think. They're like, it was kind of crazy at the club last night. Like, it was some weird stuff, and then Buffy was being weird. And
Cordelia's talking to some other girl, and she's like, yeah, Buffy, like, you know how I said that she almost attacked me with a wooden stake? Yesterday, she actually stabbed a guy. Anyway, do you got the math homework?
Yeah, because Xander comes in, he's like, man, it's going to be so different. And you see the courtyard, and everyone's just hanging out, playing hacky sack, joking around like last night didn't happen. Like they weren't running for their lives last night. And
what I also love that they're like not even going to have a school assembly about it.
Like
it's like it didn't happen on school property.
Yeah, but I mean, like, what is the deal with Jesse being dead? How is that explained? Does his parents go, hey, I haven't seen my son in 2 days? Like,
Vance, don't worry about it. He was a minor character.
He was one of their main friends. They'll be like, hey, Xander, where's your best friend? Oh, I don't know. Like, what? And like, the bouncer when they go back to the club tomorrow night, that night, because they're going back. It's an every
absolutely
night.
Going back. Absolutely going back. That guy's kids are not getting fed because
and the owners are like, we got to get another bouncer. Like what?
His bouncer job at the fucking underage drinking club is no more.
What about the girl that Luke killed?
Yeah.
What about the guy that was killed in the school building? The first episode. That they found in a locker. They found a guy in a locker in the school, and he's worried about Buffy leaving campus.
Vance. Minor characters, okay? They're not the main characters.
I am surprised Luke died so soon.
Look, you don't even know any of their names, okay?
I don't know the girl's name. We knew Jesse.
We don't know the guy that died in the first episode from the locker.
No, but he died in the school. He was found in a school locker. They canceled Jim, and that was it.
Yeah. The show must go on, Vance. This education needs to keep going on.
Like, okay, think about this. You have a girl who's troubled, right? Buffy, right? She's from a troubled place. The first day she shows up, a dead body is in the locker.
Yeah. Coincidence? Maybe.
Not asking her any questions?
Yeah. And then she broke into it.
Yeah. And are people not weirded out by the librarian that keeps showing up at the club?
Right.
Like, it's like, that's why I thought it was going to be cool if everyone knew vampires existed right now. Because we didn't have to go through this hiding thing. But movies didn't do that. Movies and TV shows didn't do that back then. Like, they'll do it now. Like, shows will jump the gun now and, like, are more interesting for it. Where you're like, oh, they just found out that person was an alien. You're like, cool, how are they going to deal with it? Before, we're just like, all right, 20 seasons. We'll go. The 9th season, you'll find out. And someone will be like, I think you're that person.
I always thought there was something different about you.
120 episodes later. Like, finally caught on.
Oh my God.
But yeah, that's just the fact that they showed up to school and it was just normal and they just had a line. It was like, people rationalize things.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like,
and like upbeat ska music playing underneath.
Like, that was traumatizing. Like, even from a standpoint of that guy doing a bad stand-up routine.
So that's episode 2, The Harvest. Anything else you want to talk about?
I think Colin got a raw deal. I don't think it was his fault with that trap.
He definitely got a raw deal.
I know what I wanted to say. So Willow's like, we're done, right? We did it. And like, did you not realize that the vampire that you threw acid on its face ran away? Yeah. And then 2 others just ran away. Like, they're still vampires.
2 that were dragging Xander around, like, were like, they saw Buffy and how much ass she kicked, and they were like, I don't want no part of that.
They did that comic, like, look at each other and then look away, run. Yeah. And my thought was like, hey, so should we just skip school today and go back into that tunnel and kill the master? Yeah. Like, because guys was like, well, we still have the master. He's going to try again at some point. Yeah. And
Buffy's like, well, I got a lollipop, and I'm going to do that.
Yeah, what did she say? She says something so ridiculous.
I can't remember, but it was just like, well, I guess we just got... And Giles is also like, no, that's not the end, and it's probably going to get a lot worse. There's like not even just going to be vampires. It's going to be much worse things. Yeah. And then everyone's like, cool, I guess I don't want to be late for chemistry class.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, we're all doomed. I'm like, yeah, she just saved the world, basically. Yeah. So I think you'll be fine.
I think she said something about like, and I have to try to not get kicked out of the school again, or like get kicked out of another school. And then he's like, oh, the world is doomed.
My thought was watching this was like, there are people who like create an app and drop out of high school. Yeah. I think Gail should figure out a way to self-fund Buffy so she doesn't have to go to school. So she can just fight.
And she should just tell her mom. Like, why is the mom in the dark?
Like,
you just know that vampires are going to show up at her door one day and kidnap the mom.
I can't wait for the dinner scene with Angel and the mom and Buffy.
Yeah. And then be like,
and
oh,
she's
so
so
is this
clueless.
your boyfriend?
Oh,
so
he doesn't eat much, does he?
yeah.
Like, I can't wait for stuff like that. That's why it's there. It's just there for comedic, like, silliness.
So how did you two meet? I met her in a dark alley.
I quietly wished her good luck before she went to fight the Masters.
And he's like, okay, well, and then her mom's gonna have something like, well, I met your father in a much weirder place, and then Buffy's gonna be like, where? And she's like, McDonald's.
Like, where is your dad? And the sad music comes up, and they tell the story.
Yep, that is exactly what's gonna happen.
Can't wait.
But yeah, I just don't understand why the mom needs to be in the dark.
It's just how they did things then.
I don't know why she needs to be in the dark.
Yeah.
And I don't know how she could still possibly be in the dark. Like, if anyone's mentally challenged here, it's the mom.
She's like, the books I read told me I should start saying no. She's reading parenting books and she's 16.
Yeah. So that's The Harvest, everybody. Thanks for listening. Subscribe and all that good stuff. Rate and review. You get it.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for Vance. Shit's about to get real.
I saw the title of the next one.
Next episode is titled Witch.
3 episodes in and we're done with vampires.
Yeah. now she's got to pivot to witch slaying.
They're like, we can't keep this up.
Oh my god. All right, so stay tuned and we'll see you next time. See ya.
Seltzer Kings
Podcasts.